Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
The very first actress in history to become box office poison before she ever came box office.
Rachel Zegler goes nuts after her career just hit rock bottom, and all thanks to her own dumb moves.
Rachel Zegler has been called many things already in her career, from narcissist to egomaniac, selfish and spoiled brat, even the most unhireable actress in Hollywood. But for me, there are only two words that describe her the best: cringe and condoms.
She never misses a chance to grab hate like it's an award. Her 600 Mallard Disney flop tanked. Evita was a ghost town. Merch is rotting on shelves. And even Hollywood's sick of her now.
Rachel Zegler, being 23 or whatever she is, like so many kids raised on TikTok, she's all for infantada is the only global solution.
You know, there was a time not too long ago when Rachel Zegler was a Hollywood golden girl. West Side Story dropped in 2021 and boom, Golden Globe in hand. Spielberg hyping her like she was the second coming of Julie Andrews. She was a shiny new toy in town. The glitter has officially turned into rust, because after that initial moment of glory, she somehow managed to stack flop after flop, like she collected them for a Netflix docuseries titled How to Ruin a Career in 5 Easy Films.
She proves that the only thing Rachel Zegler believes in is that she's God's gift to Mother Earth and the only star that shines in the solar system.
I'm a narcissist.
Rachel Zegler has been called many things already in her career.
Insiders, and by insiders, I mean literally anyone with access to a Google search. She's dropped 5 major bombs in a row. And it's not like people were even rooting against her at first. No one starts off saying, "Wow, I hope this promising actress gets obliterated by the same studio that cast her." But Rachel, she earned the hate, like she worked overtime for it. And most of it wasn't even because of her acting. It was her mouth.
And a whole new slate of interviews where she humble brags how humbled she is by her own humility.
Because let's talk about Snow White, the role that should have been her Disney legacy. The movie that little girls rewatch for generations became the cinematic version of a car fire in a snowstorm. And Rachel Zegler was out here dragging the original story like it personally keyed her car. She called the prince a stalker. She said the original was weird. Weird? You're remaking a fairy tale, and you start by mocking the fairy tale. It's like opening a restaurant and saying, "By the way, food is gross."
Cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird. We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie.
And social media. Oh, it turned fast. By 2023, Rachel Zegler wasn't trending because of her roles. She was trending because no one could believe how arrogant and clueless one actress could sound in every single interview. She became the human version of a rolling eye emoji. The tweets wrote themselves. Zegler strikes again. Snow White, but make it condescending. Rachel, please stop talking challenge. Impossible.
It's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
And now in 2025, even Disney, the same Disney that used to shove her face on every billboard like she was a messiah of modern musicals, has basically ghosted her. They're not calling. They're not texting. They're pretending they've never heard of her. She's unraveling, and the internet is watching with popcorn in hand.
Actually, Rachel Zegler, who is the new Snow White, and she's talking about Snow White being woke.
Can you tell us a little bit about your version of Snow White?
Yeah, I mean, Snow White is the girl you remember, but she's definitely made for the modern age. And there's such an emphasis on what it really means to be the fairest of them all. And for Snow White, it's coming to terms with finding herself and finding her inner voice and finding a sense of agency so that she can be a just ruler.
If you think that's bad, wait till we talk about Evita, her big West End debut at the iconic London Palladium. Now, this theater is no joke. 2,286 seats, historic venue, big names like Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice behind the original production. This should have been her theater redemption arc. It should have been the She's still got it moment. Instead, over 70% of those seats were straight up empty. Not like, oh, it's early, we'll sell later empty. I mean rows and rows of ghost town emptiness from June to August 2025. The only thing more hollow than the theater was her self-awareness.
Disney, Zegler pulled a con so bold in London, audiences were screaming refund in 4 languages. Let's just say that thanks to Zegler, a bad publicity stunt, and a few hundred smartphones, the big number she was supposed to sing in Evita is now all over social media.
And here's the kicker. They slash prices. We're talking seats going for $2,950. That's cheaper than some theme park hot dogs. And still, people weren't buying. Premium front row seats were just sitting there like they had bed bugs. Even the scalpers gave up. Like, if that doesn't scream flop, I don't know what does. Now, of course, her team tried to spin it. They said the show already racked up $4 million in pre-sales. Sure, and I'm the queen of Gavia. If you got $4 million in ticket sales, maybe explain why I can still log on to the booking site and grab 6 seats together on a Saturday night. People on Reddit literally called it scam, PR spin, fake hype. Evita performed the ghosts. Those are actual quotes, not just my spicy commentary.
An iconic song, yes, but it's the balcony grabbing all the attention.
But the most Rachel Zegler thing ever, what she did next. So instead of fixing the mess or, trying to not annoy paying fans, she pulled the most tone-deaf stunt imaginable. She decided to perform her big number, Don't Cry for Me, Argentina, not on stage, but from the balcony to the street. Yep. While the people who paid $500 plus for premium seats were sitting inside watching her on a screen, she was out there serenating random strangers on the sidewalk for free.
It's the exact reason why the actress suddenly kicked off her comeback tour with a one-way ticket to London where she could scam suckers out of 500 tickets to watch her on a jumbo giant screen. That's it.
Who does that? You got folks dropping hundreds for a live experience, and instead they get a live stream. Meanwhile, tourists with ice cream cones and 0 ticket stubs are getting the full show outside for nothing. It's like you bought Beyoncé tickets and she decided to sing in the parking lot for the Uber drivers. Social media went ballistic. GriftCon bait and switch. Some people even called it a psychological heist. The term theater robbery with glitter started trending. And honestly, not wrong.
You had paying customers were waiting to see her on stage, and she took off and headed to a balcony where she could belt out Evita's hit song, Don't Cry for Me, Argentina, live for free to strangers on the street.
And all this would be hilarious if it weren't followed by an even bigger disaster. Snow White, the cinematic Chernobyl. According to leaks, Disney poured around $600 million into this train wreck. That's production, marketing, and reshoots. That's enough money to fund 3 Marvel movies and still have change for an Avengers group therapy session. And for what? For theater owners to beg Disney to let them pull it early. Some didn't even wait. They swapped it out mid-run for anything else they had lying around. Documentaries, re-releases. Rumor has it one theater literally put on a slideshow of paint drying and got better attendance.
And then they couldn't put dwarfs because this is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive.
And then came the video that broke the internet. A clip from inside a Snow White showing. You see the seats, all of them empty. Not, oh, it's just early. Not there's some buzz, but it's slow. No, empty. You could hear echoes from the projector. One person on Twitter said, "You could have filmed a horror movie in that theater and no one would have noticed." Oh, and internationally, it gets even worse. Lebanon didn't just pull showtimes. They banned the entire movie. Full stop. No distribution, no import, no screenings. Disney didn't just bomb at the box office. They triggered a diplomatic exorcism.
Snow White, the film that bombed so hard that it only brought in $50 a screen over Mother's Day weekend, is now somehow the #1 streaming hit on Disney+. And before you ask, you're going to say, how did this happen?
And the cherry on this nightmare Sunday. While Rachel's movie was collapsing, Lilo and Stitch, yes, the animated alien movie from 2002, came in with its live-action remake and out-earned Snow White's entire U.S. box office run in its first weekend. Let that sink in. An alien dog beat out a legacy Disney princess reboot. Rachel got bodied by a blue gremlin and a ukulele. You can't make this up.
Wasn't sincere because she's had a long history of saying woke, annoying things. Our new Snow White.
This isn't just one bad project. This is a performance art piece and failure. This is what happens when Hollywood puts more money into ego than actual audience connection. Rachel Zegler stood on stage on balconies and on red carpets screaming about how she was the future. And now she's the punchline. Sabotages. Rachel, not so much.
That at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
You heard that right. Zegler not only believes that she's a priceless work of art, she thinks she's sacred, and she doesn't just shout that into the mirror.
And somehow she keeps doubling down. Keeps pretending the house isn't on fire while she's roasting marshmallows on the flames of her own reputation. She disrespected the classics, belittled fans, trashed a fairy tale, and now she's shocked no one's buying tickets to see her reenact it live. Let's talk about the merch. Because when even Disney can't sell you as a princess, you know the delusion has officially hit rock bottom. In their infinite wisdom, Disney thought they'd play the collector's card. They released Snow White merch in limited quantities to create what they called exclusive hype. T-shirts, mugs, dolls, the whole cookie-cutter Disney line with Rachel's face stamped on everything like she was a second coming of Cinderella.
A high-priced, no-return item that ends up serenading a few while screwing others with a bad dye job.
Now the plan here was obvious. Put out less stock, make it seem rare, and then watch desperate fans fight over it, like it's 2001 and Beanie Babies are making a comeback. But guess what? Fast forward a few months, and you got shelves still fully stocked, like untouched. Not a mug out of place, not a single doll with a bent box. Just sitting there like time forgot them. Even the clearance bins started looking embarrassed.
For a very long time, it seems that nobody has quite captured the public's disdain like our girl, Rachel Zegler. The damage had been done.
Retailers tried everything. Quiet price cuts, unadvertised discounts, slap a red sticker on it, and praise strategies. But the demand was dead, and the Prince Zegler called a stalker. No one wanted to buy this stuff, not even as a gag gift. One poor cashier was caught on camera using Snow White mugs as doorstops. That's how bad it got. And then came the roast of all roasts. A fan on Reddit summed up the entire merch debacle with one simple sentence. You can't sell woke if no one's buying. Mic drop. Disney tried to manufacture nostalgia and accidentally built a warehouse of unsold regret. If this was supposed to be a branding success, then congratulations. Rachel Zegler just became the face of the clearance aisle.
It was a wholesome family film, and now they've turned it into woke trash. Check this out from Wokeness. Disney's Snow White said that harm should befall Trump and his voters. Do not see this film.
But we're just getting warmed up because after the show stayed full and the theater stayed empty, Rachel herself started to break. I mean, full-on meltdown mode. We're talking live streams where she looked like she was either about to cry or audition for a soap opera reboot. The fake vulnerability was so bad it made actual actors cringe. She ranted in interviews, deflected in Q&As's, and somehow always circled back to the internet as mean, like that was a real issue, not the dumpster fire she helped light.
She proves that she hasn't learned a thing, because one minute she's playing the martyr of the Magic Kingdom, and the next, she's telling a reporter that she's the new based princess.
I was gifted very good cheekbones from God, which is something I thank him for constantly. When I was a kid, I used to manifest having cheekbones and dimples, and I got them both.
And then came the Instagram moment. She posts a clip after premiere, flowers in hand, smile forced, voice shaking like a Wi-Fi connection during a thunderstorm. She's clearly trying to turn this into a resilient queen moment. Instead, fans called it what it was: the saddest flex of 2025. One person literally commented, "She's holding flowers like it's a funeral." And they weren't wrong. The red carpet looked less like a celebration and more like a eulogy.
There goes her shot at ever becoming Miss America, because female contestants there preach about ending hunger and then pray for world peace. But not Zegler. She only wants cheekbones and dimples. Not a happy family, not wisdom, not talent.
Then came the memes. Oh, the glorious memes. There's footage of her sitting alone in a theater. Empty seats all around. The internet wasted no time slapping captions on it, like Snow White and the 7 empty seats. Box office bombshell. And when your career does a better disappearing act than the evil queen, TikTok, Reddit, Twitter, everyone joined in. It was like watching the world's most public breakdown get turned into a group project.
Every time I forget about Rachel Zegler, there she is again, creeping right back into the headlines like a stalker with a SAG card and a God complex. Except now it's a casting director who was drunk enough to offer her the role of Maria in the new Sound of Music remake. That's right, you're not hallucinating.
And while Rachel was busy crying in 4K, her co-stars were already jumping ship. Let's start with Gal Gadot, aka Wonder Woman, who gave the most graceful backhand in Hollywood history. When asked about Snow White's failure, she didn't even blink. She called it a corporate misalignment. "Don't look at me. I just showed up, did my scenes, and went home."
It's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
But it got better. When pressed about her experience with Rachel, Gal said, and I quote, "I'll talk about that when I feel comfortable." That's it. One sentence. 10,000 rumors. You don't have to be a PR expert to read between those lines. She basically told the world, yeah, something happened. No, I'm not defending her. Yes, it was messy. Meanwhile, Andrew Burnap, remember him? He played the prince, or was supposed to. He didn't even bother showing up to the premiere. No press, no red carpet, no promotional effort, just gone, vanished. And we all know why. Rachel had already gone on record saying all of Andrew's scenes could get cut. And guess what? They were. She basically torpedoed his entire role before the movie even hit theaters. If that's not sabotage, I don't know what is. So now you've got Gal playing polite avoidance, Andrew pulling a Houdini, and Rachel still wondering why she'd perform in empty chairs. It's almost impressive how quickly she alienated an entire cast.
I truly do believe that. There's something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism and the patriarchy and about abortion.
And then just when it seemed like it couldn't get worse, Disney made their quietest but loudest move yet. They canceled the Tangled live-action reboot. Poof, gone. No trailer, no teaser, no statement. They just acted like it never existed. And why? Because surprise, surprise, Rachel Zegler was rumored to be the lead. Rapunzel, y'all, they were going to hand over one of their most beloved franchises to the same actress who torched Snow White into ash. You can't make this stuff up.
Hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business.
Babe, what business do you mean?
According to insiders, the executives didn't even want to consider recasting. They didn't want another PR disaster. They didn't want another round of fans roasting Disney dolls on TikTok. They just shut it down quietly, like burying a cursed object in the woods and hoping no one ever digs it up again.
Love you.
I love me?
So much.
I love you.
I get stopped for photos every time I'm online for the Snow White ride, and I have to pretend like, oh God,
I love you.
And this wasn't just about Tangled. This was a signal, a big flashing billion-dollar sign that said, we're done with this. Disney, the same company that built its entire empire on squeaky clean princesses and rainbow dreams, looked at the mess that was Snow White and decided it wasn't worth trying again. They're not pulling back just to save money. They're pulling back to save face. Let's be real here. Before she was cast in West Side Story, Snow White, and Hunger Games, Rachel had exactly one credit, one uno, a single digit on IMDb. And suddenly she was being handed legacy franchises like she cured cancer. And Spielberg, the man literally handpicked her for Snow White. Spielberg. You'd think that endorsement alone would carry weight. But here we are, 2025, and the man hasn't said a single word since her movie detonated like a box office nuke. Radio silence. Crickets. It's like even he wants to pretend it never happened.
In one clip, she calls the Sharks, the rival gang of the Jets in this new version of West Side Story, a rainbow of the Latino community, and then struggles to name what constitutes Latino diversity.
Critics didn't hold back either. They've straight up labeled her a charisma experiment. Not a real star. Just a theory someone in a suit cooked up to see if audiences would fall in love with name before the talent actually showed up. They didn't because you can't force connection. You can't skip the grind. You can't become beloved just because your PR team says so.
I have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie.
And now she's being compared to the poster boys of studio misfires. Sam Worthington and Jai Courtney. Remember them? Big budgets, big roles, big nothing. They were supposed to be the next big thing. And instead, they vanish into Hollywood purgatory faster than you can say box office flop. That's the club Rachel's joined now. The club of oops, we pushed too hard, too fast, and no one cared. And speaking of flops, let's talk numbers. Real numbers. Cold, brutal, unforgiving stats. Snow White. The movie that Disney sunk years and hundreds of millions into couldn't even cross $100 million at the U.S. box office. For a Disney princess film, that's unheard of. That's not just bad. That's legendary level failure. You almost have to try to bomb that hard.
She recently told that to a reporter and her psychiatrist that every inch of her body is built inside and out to be worshipped. My compassion has no boundaries.
But here's where it gets truly embarrassing. You know what movie beat Snow White's entire domestic haul in just one weekend? Minecraft. The movie. Yeah, that pixelated blocky fever dream with Jack Black yelling into a microphone. A film people thought would be a meme turned into a moneymaker. Because guess what? It didn't try to lecture the audience. It didn't pretend to fix a classic. It just had fun. Meanwhile, Rachel Snow White was too busy rewriting fairy tales like it was auditioning for a TED Talk. And if that wasn't humiliating enough, Snow White's IMDb rating now ranks among the lowest for any modern Disney release. That includes the ones nobody even remembers existed. Fans and critics alike just dogpiled it into the dirt. And the worst part, Disney allegedly tried to spin it. They pushed this narrative that it was performing so well on Disney+. But here's the thing. They refused to release actual viewership numbers. They made it up. They were in full panic mode trying to polish a turd, hoping nobody would notice. It still smelled like disappointment.
White, they recreated it. You know, Disney's gone woke, as I keep telling you guys, even though a lot of the woke stuff is disappearing.
Insiders said it best. Execs were in damage control mode, actively trying to erase it from Disney's timeline. That's how bad it got. They wanted it gone. not just forgotten, erased like it never happened. Disney has decades of content in its vault, and while the studio was scrambling to fix their mistake, Hollywood itself began the slow, surgical process of ghosting Rachel Zegler. Not canceling, ghosting. You know it's real when casting directors start passing on you. Not because you're untalented, but because you come with online baggage. That's the term going around, online baggage. No one wants to deal with the controversy. No one wants their movie trending for the wrong reasons before the first trailer even drops.
On Snow White and how it totally imploded at the box office this weekend.
Rachel is literally the star of a Disney movie, and she acts like she's some sort of victim. And that's the sort of mentality that is just poisoning people's minds. Like, she acts like her life is so bad.
Her career, once considered promising, is now stuck in a weird kind of limbo. Not dead, not alive, just there, hovering in the background like that one cousin you forget to invite to the family barbecue. She's still showing up at award shows. But notice something. She's not headlining anything. No new roles, no lead announcements. Just appearances that feel more like desperate reminders and invitations.
Once she believes that a co-star might just outshine her, she's going to send that compassion for her smoke break, and out pop the claws, and out comes the Hollywood hitman in high heels.
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story.
And the shift, it happened fast. In under 24 months, she went from next big thing to next big liability. That's not an exaggeration. 1 minute she's a future Hollywood. The next she's a PR nightmare no one wants to deal with. And it's not because of a single mistake. It's because she kept doubling down on the worst instincts possible. And this is the part that really burns. She's not being canceled. No hashtags, no outrage mobs. She's being phased out quietly, silently, one ignored email at a time. That's the Hollywood way of saying we're done here. And it's way more brutal than cancel culture, because you don't even get the dignity of a headline, just silence. Because when you boil it all down, Rachel Zegler is a walking masterclass in how not to build a career. She had the golden ticket, the movies, the press, the endorsements. But what she didn't have, what no amount of hype could fake, was a connection. The real, honest connection with an audience. She skipped the hard part. She got the crown without earning the kingdom. And now the villagers have left the castle. Hollywood gave her the roles, the coverage, the entire stage. But they forgot one thing. She didn't have any fans. No real base. No audience that actually cared. And the result? Empty theaters, shelves full of unwanted merch, and now the cold sting of irrelevance. Because at the end of the day, the audience always decides. Not casting directors, not billion-dollar campaigns, not even Spielberg. The fans, the people in the seats, the ones who show up and buy the ticket. And if you ignore them, mock them, dismiss their love for classics, they don't scream, they don't riot, they just stop showing up, and someone else, someone who gets it, steps in and takes the spotlight. Zegler's fall ain't slowing down, so hit that subscribe button before Hollywood wipes her off the map completely.